As I mentioned, interest rates have hit a 7-year high, with the Reserve Bank today announcing it'll increase the cash rate by 50 basis points, or half a percentage point, to 2.35%. To put that in perspective, a borrower with a loan of $500,000 will be paying an extra $144 a month on their mortgage repayments. This is the 5th consecutive RBA interest rate increase in 5 months. For more on this, I'm joined by Simon Cowan from the Centre for Independent Studies. Thanks for joining us again, Simon. Are we starting to see an impact from these interest rate rises, and what will this additional rate increase do to that impact?
Look, it's hard to say. There's a lag, obviously, in the interest rate increases and the effect that they have on mortgage holders and then consumers. So consumer confidence is down a little bit, but we're still seeing quite strong spending from the consumer sector. So we haven't yet seen a massive slowdown. The RBA, of course, is still promising to increase interest rates despite the unprecedented speed and scope of the recent interest rate increases. But as you said, every time those rates go up by another 50 basis points, it's another couple of $100 out of people's pockets. We've now had 5 in a row, the last 4 of which have all been 50 basis points. At a certain point, that starts to bite on people. They start to get frustrated. I know that I'm already hearing people just really quite confused and angry about the fact that we were promised there'd be no interest rate increases for a number of years. We've now had 5 interest rate increases, and we have promises of more yet to come.
Yeah, this is the thing. How far do they go? You talk about that lag. Obviously, there's the problem here where reserve banks can sometimes go too far and crash a country into recession. Fuel prices are up, electricity prices are up. We've already seen the heat starting to come out of the real estate market. Maybe they ought to just sit back for a while and see where we go.
Well, I think that's a reasonable observation, and certainly having gone again and again and again and again and again now, it would behoove them to perhaps just see what's going to happen. They're predicting, of course, that inflation is going to continue to rise across the rest of this year. We've yet to see the significant wage growth that potentially would cause real problems there, although the government's trying as hard as it can to talk up union wage claims. But I think there is a real prospect, and each interest rate increase brings further prospect that the unintended consequence of turning us into a recession or a downturn gets greater every time, and it would probably be a good idea, at least for the short term, for the RBA perhaps to have a look and see what the impact will be.
And just briefly, Simon, are we starting to see signs of mortgage stress anywhere yet in the bigger cities perhaps?
Well, look, I think in places like Sydney, particularly for those people who were encouraged into the market by both major parties in recent years, the people who are likely to have massive mortgages rather than more containable mortgages, also those who probably had to eat through their savings deposit in order to get into the market, they're the ones that are going to be impacted most heavily initially. They're the ones that are least likely to have a buffer. So, I mean, I know that there are families out there that are concerned. What we really need to do is need to get inflation under control and then stop increasing interest rates as soon as we can.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us, Simon. Simon Cowan
pleasure.
there from the Centre for Independent Studies.